So we see the word re in like redo or replay or reimagine or recreate, for example. So it means to do the base word again. So whatever you see re in front of, or not everything, but if you see re before a base word like that, it can mean to do that thing again. So, in a sentence, I have to redo my homework. Anti. The next prefix is anti, or you might hear anti as well. Anti or anti, both are fine. But it means against or in opposition to, or like kind of the opposite of something. So against, anti. So we see this in like antifreeze or antisocial or anti-inflammatory or antibiotic. So they all mean against something. So like the word antifreeze, for example, means like against freezing. So antifreeze is a product that prevents a liquid from freezing, for example. An antibiotic is a medicine that we take to kill like bad microorganisms in our body, germs in other words. So we see bio in that word, so relating to like biology. Antisocial refers to someone who does not like social situations. They are against social situations. And anti-inflammatory, another type of medicine, is against inflammation. So inflammation can mean like swelling or like turning you red, for example. So anti means against something. We see anti before words which mean like opposing or against that thing. In a sentence, my boss is anti-overtime.
こんな平日の朝から。
So the next prefix is dis. So dis essentially, dis means not. So we see this in words like disrespect or disapprove or disconnect or like disagree, for example. So these words all mean not plus the base word. So like disagree, for example, means to not agree, or disconnect means to not connect. So something is not connected to the other thing. Disrespect means to not respect something, for example. So dis means not plus that base word. In a sentence, a good editor should be disinterested. X. The next prefix is X. X means former. So something that was once true is not true anymore. We see this very commonly in relationships. So for example, ex-husband, ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, ex-boss. So all of these mean my former something, my former boyfriend, my former girlfriend, my former boss, my former roommate, for example. In a sentence, the ex-CEO was in the news this week. Mid. The next prefix is mid. So mid means in the middle of or during something. So we can see this in a word like midnight or midsummer, for example, or mid-morning. So meaning in the middle of or roughly in the middle of something during that time period. Midnight means in the middle of the night, or mid-morning is like in the middle of the morning. So all of these refer to mid something. We can also use it for like an action, like mid-meal, for example, or he was mid-presentation when the phone rang, for example. So mid means in the middle of something. In a sentence, I was mid-breakfast when I heard the news. Ill. The next one is ill. So ill means in not, or it's like a negative prefix. It means the base word, but not that base word. So we see this in words like illogical, or illegible, or illegal, for example. So these all mean not plus the base word. So illogical means not logical. Illegible means unable to read. Legible means readable. Illegible means cannot read that thing, unable to read that. Illegal means not legal, in other words, so an action that is against the law. So ill means not. In a sentence, highly illogical, Captain. That's a Star Trek reference. Im. The next prefix is im. I-M. Im also means not. It means not. Words that fit this pattern, for example, could be impossible or impeccable or improbable or imperfect, for example. So again, it means not. So imperfect means not perfect. Impossible means not possible. So im means not. It means not. In a sentence, this is impossible. In. The next prefix is in. So again, in also means not. It's a negative prefix that we use. There are a lot of words that start with this in, meaning not. So like inconsiderate, incapable, inconceivable, inappropriate. So they all mean not, plus the base word. For example, like the word inappropriate means not appropriate. So behavior that is not appropriate in a certain situation. Or incapable means not capable. Someone...
These flames won't burn. Follow the righteous path.
Together, we'll lay the moon low.
Incapable. Yeah.
Awake, fight, open your eyes. There is no hope for you. Salvation for the world lies in everlasting punishment. Eternal punishment upon
Nice
you.
try.
We ride in eternal darkness. You ain't got nothing. Together, we'll lay the moon low. You ain't got nothing.
A flash of metal, a silent night.
Stand down. Or get massacred. You ain't got nothing.
These flames won't burn.
The tribulation you ain't got nothing. We'll ride under a moonless sky.
Let me weave you a lie.
On prevailing wings, by condemnation flayed.
Such attacks can't wound me.
Our paths may differ, yet our will be done.
Is my bond.
I've got you. You're careless.
Nice
She's
try.
job is to provide answers.
cannot do something they are expected to do. So in means not plus our base meaning, the opposite then of that meaning. In a sentence, he's incapable of running the country.
The rhythm of madness.
Here,
The rhythm of madness.
Sleep well.
Judgment awaits the Nebbia.
Nothing can penetrate my shield.
Fear not the three wonders.
No time to rest. Gotta ride the rhythm.
All hardships can be overcome.
Ride on their heels. You got it.
Let's wreck stuff until the moon goes down.
You got it.
Your awakened self will divide you from others.
Together, we'll lay the moon low. You got it.
be dissociative.
Come and
You
get it.
got it. We'll ride under a moon.
なんでこいつ進化するの？
Leave you alive.
You got it.
At last. I'll see you all
The
soon.
next prefix is ear. Ear. So the pronunciation is ear,
Ear.
even though it's IR. Ear. For example, we see this in
Ear,
like
ear.
irresponsible or irredeemable or irregular. So again, this means not something. So irresponsible means not responsible. Irregular, not regular. Irredeemable is something that cannot be made up. We cannot redeem that thing. So ear is another negative prefix, meaning not or no. In a sentence, your behavior was irresponsible. None. The next prefix is non, N-O-N. So N-O-N is a prefix. Again, it means not or against, or like, I shouldn't say against. So non also means not something. So for example, we see it in a word like nonsense or like non-sequential or non-sequitur. So these are words that all mean like not something. So for example, non-sensed means no sense, essentially, not sense. Non-sequitur. So sequitur, the base there is like, think of the word sequence. We see that same sort of base in sequence as we see in non-sequitur. And that actually comes from the Latin meaning like to follow something. So non sequitur means like it does not follow. So a non sequitur means something that just, it's not part of the conversation. It's like a random comment is a non sequitur. So it does not follow. Non sequitur is one. So non means not or no. In a sentence, this is nonsense. Break, fracture. The first word is break or fracture. So these two verbs are used interchangeably, actually. They both refer to a broken bone or a fractured bone. So two pieces of bone become separated or a bone becomes broken. So fractured, it comes apart. So to break a bone in present tense is I broke a bone in past tense. Fracture is a regular verb, which means the past tense is fractured. So, in a sentence, I broke my wrist when I fell snowboarding. That's true. That's true. I broke my wrist when I fell snowboarding. I'm inspired today. Blessing. Sprain. The next word is sprain. Sprain. To sprain something refers to hurting or to injuring a ligament. So a ligament are these sort of like fibrous things, like kind of, they connect, they're the parts of the body, inside your body. They connect bones to muscles or bones to like organs. They hold the parts of the body together inside. So a sprain is damage to a ligament, a sprain. So we can say, for example, to sprain a part of the body, a specific part of the body. Some common examples come from sports injuries, like he sprained his ankle playing basketball last week, or I sprained my wrist working in the garden or something, I don't know. But I think a sprain happens when you push the joint or you push that part of the body beyond the possible or the reasonable range of motion. So my example sentence already said it, but he sprained his ankle at the basketball game last week. Bruise. The next word is bruise. Bruise. So a bruise refers to taking an impact, something that's not a sharp impact. It's usually like a blunt impact, I suppose. I don't know. It kind of depends. But anyway, a bruise, we can use it as a noun or as a verb, actually. To bruise something means you damage, usually like a certain area of skin, and blood collects under the skin, creating like a black or blue or maybe even like greenish color, purple maybe. To use it as a noun, we can say that spot is a bruise. We refer to that damaged area as a bruise. Yeah. To use it as a verb, however, we can say, I bruised my arm, or I bruised my leg. So to bruise something means to cause damage, but it's like under the skin. We can see the color change because of the damage, the blood collecting there. So that's to bruise something. In a sentence, I bruised my arm when I ran into the door. Cut. The next word is cut. Cut. So cut is done with a sharp object. A cut refers to an injury which causes blood to emerge, usually, unless it's a very shallow cut. Shallow is the opposite of deep. So a cut is caused by a sharp object. So a knife is probably the most common thing that comes to mind when talking about cuts. Though another very common type of cut is called a paper cut as a noun. So if you've ever tried to take a piece of paper and the piece of paper has kind of made a small cut on your hand, that's called a paper cut. So it's that kind of slice motion that injures the body is a cut. All right, in a sentence, be careful not to cut yourself when using a knife. Wound. The next word is wound. Wound. So a wound is just a place of injury on the body. We have a couple of different words we can use to be specific about wounds. They're like an open wound and a closed wound, I suppose you could say. But usually people say things like, don't touch open wounds. So an open wound is usually like a fresh wound. So something has been recently damaged on the body, recently injured, and the wound is fresh. Maybe we can see blood, or maybe we can see into the body or something. That's considered an open wound. So a closed wound would be perhaps a wound which has been fixed by a doctor, or for small wounds, like maybe the body has created a new layer over the top of the wound. That's called a scab. Ew. Scabs. Ew. But that's not an open wound then, but we should still care for it. So a wound is a place on the body that is injured in some way. A wound. That's used as a noun. We can also use wound as a verb, which means to hurt something. Like, I wounded my arm. But wound is not so common, I think, in everyday speech. Instead, we use the verb hurt. I hurt my arm, but I'll talk more about this later. So, in a sentence, don't touch open wounds. Injure. The next word is injure. Injure. So, I've been talking a little bit about the word injure. To injure means to hurt a part of the body. So to injure your arm, to injure your head, to injure your neck. These mean to take damage on that part of the body, to injure something. So it's typically a bad thing to injure something. The noun form of this word is injury. So I have an injury. We use this word more with like perhaps sports, I guess military, I guess so. But for everyday, like just small, I don't know, for small injuries, I suppose, like paper cuts, for example, or like maybe a cooking accident. I suppose we don't really say injury. We'll use the verb hurt, actually. Again, I'll talk about that word a little later. But injury is damage, taking damage to a part of the body. In a sentence, she injured her shoulder this morning. Tear. The next word is tear. Tear. Be careful. This word is spelled T-E-A-R. It looks like tear, but used as a verb, it is tear. Tear, to talk about an injury. So a tear, if you can imagine like a piece of paper, when we want to separate it into two pieces, we can tear the piece of paper. Now imagine that same idea, but with a muscle in the body. So a muscle tear refers to that kind of damage to the muscle. So quite painful, I think you can imagine. So to tear a muscle requires, some serious recovery time, I imagine. I have never torn a muscle. Yeah, that's a good point. The past participle form is torn. Torn. Have you ever torn a muscle? Or the past tense is tore. I tore my shoulder muscle last week. I don't know. Awful. In a sentence, tearing a muscle.
Awful.最悪。
Judgment awaits the Nebbia.
Such attacks can't wound me.
Fear not the three. Let us fly, Pegasus.
Lighten up.
Am I all hardships can be overcome.
Good today.
Moving out as ordered.
Revel with me. Light, disperse the clouds of gloom.
Let's get this party started. Now's my time to shine.
I was too hasty.
So it is.
A sheep's job is to provide answers.
Nothing can penetrate my shield.
I will guide you to peace. What troubles you?
Are you kidding me? I shall protect you.
Sleep well.
Follow the righteous path. There is no hope for you.
Let divinity be your guide. Accept my guidance.
使うタイミング間違えた。
May resplendent light fill your days.
My faith does not waver.
On prevailing wings, by condemnation's blade.
Such attacks can't wound me.
Our paths may differ, yet our will be done.
Last. Let evil burn in the fires of righteousness.
Greed. It comes to consume me.
Exceed your limits and advance
I
to
will be
glory.
the beacon that guides everyone. Wonderful. Light, disperse the clouds of gloom. Together we'll prevail.
Now's my time to shine.
As long as I have these wings.
Follow the righteous path.
The tribulations continue.
Open your eyes. Eternal punishment
Where it
upon you.
ends?
must train more.
Though there is no God, I still serve mankind.
It's painful. Pull, pull, pull. So we use pull, again, with muscles, but this is different from tear. So to tear a muscle refers to this kind of break motion. So to pull a muscle means to stretch a muscle too much. So the muscle is like just taken beyond its limits, essentially. And so it kind of causes some discomfort. There's kind of a bad feeling in the muscle. In a sentence, I think I pulled a muscle. Ouch. Dislocate. 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 So here we see the word locate referring to location, and dis, which means not, in other words. So to dislocate something refers to removing a part of the body from its correct position and shifting it slightly. So this is something that you hear with joints. So a joint is a part of the body where two things come together. So, for example, a shoulder, we can talk about the shoulder and dislocate together. So if we say a sentence like, I think I dislocated my shoulder, maybe the correct position of part of the shoulder is to fit into another bone, like
皆さんこんにちは。ビジネス特化型オンライン英会話のビズメイツ商品開発部の京太です。今日はですね、こんなお悩みに関する
bone like this, but maybe dislocating the shoulder means like it moved this way, or I don't know how to dislocate a shoulder. But either way, the correct position is here. The dislocated position is maybe here or here. I don't know. So the bone is not broken. There's no crack. There's no break there. It's just a shift in position. So the word we use is dislocate, to dislocate something. In a sentence, he dislocated his shoulder and popped it back into place. Hurt. Hurt. To hurt something. I've talked about this verb a few times already in this lesson. But to hurt means to injure or to wound. It's like the very general verb that we can use to describe all damage to the body. So hurt generally means kind of a small injury. Like, I hurt my finger, I slammed it in the door, or I think I hurt my arm playing tennis last week. We usually use this for kind of minor injuries, not such big injuries. So in this case, for example, if I say I hurt my wrist, it sounds a little too minor, actually. This is probably a more severe injury. I would probably say, yeah, I broke my wrist. I would use something very specific instead of hurt. To refer more generally to just small, everyday damage to the body, you can say hurt. We also use this word to refer to pain in the body, too. Like, ow, my arm hurts. Ow, my wrist hurts. Instead of saying painful, we use the verb hurts more often. So it's less natural to say, my wrist is so painful. Instead, we say, my wrist hurts. It hurts is better than painful. So try that out. In a sentence, I hurt myself a lot on accident. I have an idea.
I have an idea.
The first expression is, I have an idea. I have an idea. This is a really general expression you can use to introduce a new idea. This is pretty casual, but you can use it in slightly more formal situations as well. I have an idea. Let's get Thai food for lunch. Or, I have an idea. Let's go to the beach this weekend. I have an idea. Let's take a nap. In this example sentence, I have an idea. Let's start a company. I've been thinking. The next expression is I've been thinking. I've been thinking. You can use this to say I've been thinking, ... and then begin an idea. Or you can say I've been thinking about topic. I've been thinking about topic. So I've been thinking about finding a new job. Or I've been thinking, what do you want to do for summer vacation? So you can use it in a couple of different ways. I've been thinking about, or I've been thinking. Both are okay. So in this sentence, I've been thinking about baking a cake all day. Here's a thought. The next word is here's a thought. Here's a thought. So again, this is a word you can use to introduce an idea. here is a thought. In other words, here is an idea, a thought from my mind. Here you are. Here's a thought. So you can use this to introduce an idea you have had. Here's a thought. Why don't you get a haircut? In this example sentence, here's a thought. Why don't you take tomorrow off? What do you think? The next expression is, what do you think? What do you think? Very common way to ask for someone's opinion. What do you think? We connect the words do and you quite closely in this expression. What do you think? What do you think? Sounds much more natural than what do you think? So try to use what do you think? So this is just a general way to ask for someone else's opinion about anything, really. In a sentence, I kind of want to eat something spicy for lunch. What do you think? You want to know what I think? The next expression is, you want to know what I think? So this is sort of a challenge almost. Like, it's asking the other person, do you want to know my opinion? Do you want to know what I think? Because I'll tell you only if you want to know. So you want to know what I think? Or you can drop wanna and say, you know what I think? So that you becomes ya. You know what I think? You know becomes you know. So you know what I think, or you want to know what I think? So it's a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of an introduction before you actually share your opinion. In a sentence, you want to know what I think? It's a terrible idea. I've thought about this a lot. The next expression is, I've thought about this a lot. I've thought about this a lot. In this expression, we're actually using the present perfect tense. I've thought. So that's I have thought about this, meaning I started thinking about this in the past, and my thinking has continued to the present. I've thought about this a lot. So this implies, this tells the listener, it's something that has been on your mind for a while. I've thought about this a lot. So your opinion is based on all of this past thinking. So something you have been thinking about for a long time. In a sentence, I've thought about this a lot, and I really think you should quit the company. I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no idea means I don't know. But I have no idea means zero. I have no information. No ideas. I can't think of anything. Absolutely nothing. No idea. I have no idea. So this is typically used in response to a question for information. Like, where's your brother? I have no idea. Like, what did you do with the keys? I have no idea. So some things like you have no information, absolutely no information. You can say, I have no idea. I don't know. Please note though that the idea part of the sentence is in the singular form. I have no idea. We'll talk about why in just a moment. But I have no idea to refer to having no information about it. In another sentence, the best hotel in the city? I have no idea. I have no ideas. The next expression is, I have no ideas. I have no ideas. So here, different from I have no idea, we're using the plural form, ideas, meaning someone is asking you for a proposal. Someone is asking you to create something, to make something perhaps. So they're asking for a suggestion. And if you don't have any suggestions, nothing to propose, you can say, I have no ideas. I have no ideas. So what do you want to do this weekend? I have no ideas. Or what do you want to eat for lunch? I have no ideas, really. So if you don't have any ideas, nothing to propose, you can use this with an S at the end of ideas. In another sentence, something to do this weekend? I have no ideas. I don't know. The next expression is, I don't know. I don't know. So Michael and I talked about this in an episode of English Topics many years ago. But I don't know is I don't know. The casual contracted version of I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So we use this when we don't know the answer to something. I don't know. Or when we just want to kind of relieve pressure, or when we're out of things to say as well. I don't know. So when we're like not feeling sure, not feeling confident as well, we can use this phrase. In a sentence, why are you asking me? I don't know. I knew it. The last expression is I knew it. I knew it. So here we're using the past tense of know, the verb to know something, meaning to understand or to comprehend. We're using the past tense knew. I knew it. So we use this expression when we guessed correctly about something, or when something we thought was true is proven to be correct. So I knew it. I knew it. So this is typically said with a positive voice. You hear this a lot in movies as well, I think. All right. In a sentence, you had my keys. I knew it.
You had my keys. I knew it.
Let's begin with the basic definition of this verb. The basic definition of the verb to put is to place something in a location. Examples. Put your bag over there. Don't put your feet on the sofa. Let's look at some conjugations for this verb now. Present, put, puts, past, put, past participle, put, progressive, putting. Let's talk about some additional meanings for the verb to put. The first one is to write, to write. Examples. Put your name on this line. She put her name on the list. So when we say put in this way, we refer to writing. So you're adding some information to a written document or a type.
Put your name on this line.
Let's go, Mooning. Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. Reach out, Mooning. As long as I have these wings.
A failed hunt.
Document as well. So it can mean to write or like to type information. So put your name on this line means like write your name or type your name on this line. In the second example sentence, she put her name on the list. It means the same thing. She wrote her name on a list or she added her name to a list in some way. It means writing information. Okay, let's go on to the second additional meaning. The second additional meaning is to use words to express something. To use words to express something. Examples. How should I put this? You're putting it quite simply. So we can replace the word put with express. Like, how should I express this in the first example sentence? But we use put because put sounds much less formal than express. How should I express this? It sounds way too formal, way too polite. Instead, we say, how should I put this? We use that expression when we're not quite sure how to say something. Like we're maybe talking about a sensitive topic and we don't know the correct words to use or it's difficult to explain. You can say, how should I put this? In the second example sentence, you're putting it quite simply. It means you're expressing things quite simply. So maybe it's a complex situation, but the listener is explaining things or expressing things maybe too simply. So the speaker in this case could say, you're putting it quite simply. Okay, let's go on to the third meaning. The third meaning is rather open and kind of vague, which is to cause to be in a situation. To cause to be in a situation. Let's look at some examples. This change puts the whole company at risk. Your terrible driving puts us all in danger. So in these examples, we see put is used to refer to a situation that some group of people or some person is caused to be in. So in the first example sentence, this change puts the whole company at risk. This change causes the whole company to be at risk, in a situation of risk, in a condition of risk. We use put to refer to that, to refer to being caused to be in the situation of risk. The second example sentence is the same. Your terrible driving, this is the reason why the people are in danger in this example sentence. Your terrible driving puts us all in danger. Your terrible driving causes us all to be in a condition of danger. It's very clumsy, but we use the verb put to make this quite short and easy to say. Your terrible driving puts us all in danger. Okay. There are so many variations, so many phrasal verbs to use with put. Yeah, so check a dictionary for more. These are just a few I'm going to introduce, but check a dictionary for this. The first variation for the verb put is put aside, to put aside. So to put aside means to stop thinking about something, to cease or to pause an activity while you do something else. Example, put aside your worries and relax for a day. I put my phone aside and tried to focus on my work. So in both of these example sentences, we see that one thing is kind of being moved away from focus. So for example, in the first example sentence, put aside your worries. It means like stop thinking about your worries. Like put those to the side in your mind. Don't think about those things for a while. So in the second example sentence, I'm talking about my phone, where I'm saying I can literally put my phone aside, put my phone to the side of the thing I'm doing and focus on my work. I put my phone aside. So we can use this to talk about a concept in our minds or to talk about a physical object as well. Okay, let's go on to the next variation. So the next variation is to put someone down. It means to disrespect someone or to make fun of someone, to make them feel bad about themselves. Some examples. Don't put down your classmates, it's rude. His boss keeps putting him down in front of his coworkers. So in both of these examples, we see situations where one person is being disrespected by another person. So don't put down your classmates, it's rude. So in this case, the listener is maybe a kid in school who is disrespectful to his or her classmates. So a parent or a teacher might say, don't put down, meaning don't disrespect your classmates. Don't be mean to your classmates. Don't make fun of your classmates. So, be kind to them, in other words. Don't put down your classmates. You could also say, don't put your classmates down, if you like. That's fine too. In the second example sentence, we see a work situation, like his boss always puts him down in front of his coworkers. Means the boss disrespects this person in front of his coworkers. So it's a disrespectful situation. Okay, but one point about this, the expression to put someone down refers to disrespect with regard to humans. However, when talking about animals, like we had to put the cat down or we had to put the dog down, it means usually due to some serious sickness or some serious injury or illness, the owners of the pet, usually a pet or the animal, decide that the pet should have doctor-assisted death. So to put down an animal means to choose to allow the animal to die peacefully instead of suffering. So we use that expression. I had to put my cat down. This is a much more soft expression than the doctor killed my cat, which is essentially what happens. But it's because of some kind of suffering or some kind of illness or injury the owner wants to prevent. We use the expression to put an animal down in those cases. We do not use this for people. We don't say, I had to put my brother down. Though we do actually have an expression for babies, which we use when we put babies to bed. Like, I'm going to put down the baby for bed. We do have that. So please be cautious of the differences between animals and humans with this expression. To put someone down has very different meanings. Okay, let's go on to the next variation, which is to put up with. To put up with means to tolerate something. Examples. I don't want to put up with this crazy schedule anymore. Don't put up with their bad behavior. In these examples, put up with refers to tolerating or being able to stand something or continuing to live with something. In the first example sentence, I can't put up with this crazy schedule anymore means I don't want to live with this crazy schedule anymore. I can't stand it. I don't want to do it anymore. In the second example sentence, don't put up with their bad behavior. It means don't tolerate their bad behavior. So put up with something means like to continue living with something. And we often see it in the negative form, as in don't put up with something. Let's begin with the basic definition of this verb. The basic definition of carry is to move while holding or supporting something. Examples. Can you carry this bag? I always carry a pen. Okay, let's look at the conjugations for this verb. Present, carry, carries. Past, carried. Past participle, carried. Progressive, carrying. Now let's talk about some additional meanings for this verb. The first additional meaning is to move a person or an object from one place to another. Example, veins carry blood throughout the body. The bus carried the children to school. So here we see objects and people being moved from one place to another through or via or by something else. And we use the verb carry to describe that. In the first example sentence, veins carry blood throughout the body. Veins are the, like, you can see them on your arm, usually blue colored. They're the kind of like pipes, I guess you could say, like imagine them as pipes that carry blood. So blood travels through the body through these veins. So we can say veins carry blood through the body. So veins are the method through which blood moves throughout the body. So veins are carrying blood.
うわ、これ買ってたのにな。何ミスったな。4番目のあいつがミスったな。
So we can say that veins are kind of responsible for moving blood around the body. We can use the verb carry to explain that. In the second example sentence, the bus carried the kids to school. The bus is the method of transport for the kids. So the kids are moving from one place to another place. The bus is the method of movement. So the bus carried the kids to school. We can use carry to talk about this transportation. The second additional meaning is to have a gene or illness. Examples. Rodents are known to carry rabies. Some people carry diseases they don't know about. In the first example sentence, we see rodents are known to carry rabies. So rodents are like small, like rats or mice, those kind of dirty sort of creatures, wild creatures. Rabies is a disease, a serious illness that like causes you to behave strangely, and your body has really strange problems too. I won't talk about rabies that much, not so important here. But rodents are known to carry rabies. So the small, like the biological parts, the things that cause rabies, they carry that illness. Rodents are known to carry. So it doesn't mean carry like a backpack really, but carry a gene or carry an illness, carry a sickness inside.
Melody.
みんなに配るプリントもこれが内容です。
プリントじゃないじゃん。青春プリント。
これお前じゃん。この3年間を思い出して開けてみよう。先生、真ん中は？真ん中を開けられるのはこのつながりを大切にしたい人。
くそ。
by condemnation blade.
Nothing can penetrate my shield.
Our paths
Hide the body. In this case, rodents are known to carry the sickness that is rabies inside their bodies. In the second example sentence, some people carry diseases they don't know about. It means some people have diseases in their body, but they don't know about the disease. So you can imagine, like, we carry the disease, we hold it in our body and we move around, but we don't know about it. We use the verb carry to talk about this. Let's move on to the third meaning. The third additional meaning is to make something a success. To make something a success. Examples. His leadership carried the team through a difficult time. Her performance carries the show. So in both of these examples, we see that someone carried something. So someone caused something to be successful because of their actions or because of their leadership, as we see in the first example sentence. So his leadership carried the team through a difficult time means the team was successful in a difficult time because of his leadership. But we use the verb carry to mean that. So we can kind of imagine that this one person, in this case, his leadership, and his abilities to be a good leader, in other words, were kind of the thing that carried the team. So we can imagine the whole team is on top of this one guy's leadership skills. So he is responsible for making the team a success in a difficult time. So we use carry to explain that. In the second example sentence, her performance carried the show. It means her performance was so good, it was so important that the show was a success because of it. So without her performance, maybe the show would not have been successful. But her performance was really, really good. Her performance made the show a success. Her performance carried the show. The fourth meaning of this verb is to reach a distance. To reach a distance. This can be like sound, or it can be something physical. Some examples of this. The sound of the thunder carried 20 kilometers. Ash from the volcano carried into the air. So here, we're not actually carrying a physical object. In the first example sentence, it's sound traveling. So the sound of thunder carried 20 kilometers. It means we were able to hear the sound of thunder 20 kilometers away from the source. So the sound carried, in other words. We use carry to refer to sound traveling a distance. In the second example sentence, ash from the volcano carried into the air. It means the ash from the volcano moved into the air. We could even say like the ash from the volcano carried into the next city, for example. So it traveled into the next city. It traveled some distance, but we can use carry to talk about that as well.
on prevailing wings.
Let's move on to some variations for this verb. So the first variation is to get carried away. To get carried away. This means to get too excited or too involved in something. Usually it has like a positive meaning. We get carried away because we're excited about something. But let's look at some examples. I got a little carried away baking last night. He got carried away listening to music. Both of these examples are pretty innocent. In the first example sentence, we see, I got a little carried away baking last night. It's like I baked too much last night. The idea is that I was too excited about my baking and I baked too much. Or maybe I stayed up too late baking something. I got carried away with it. I did too much of it because I was so interested in this thing. In the second example sentence, he got carried away listening to music. It maybe means he spent too much time listening to music. Maybe he forgot to do his homework, or he forgot to go to work, or he was late for work or something. Because he was carried away, he was so interested in listening to music, he forgot something, or he did too much of it, in other words. So this generally just means that you're too excited about something or too involved in something. So it can have a positive meaning. The next variation is to carry over. To carry over means to continue into the next period. To continue into the next period. Examples. Unused data will carry over into the next month. My airline miles carried over into this year. So these two expressions both use like points or miles or some kind of data. In the first example sentence, it's like a mobile phone contract. Unused data will carry over into the next month. If, for example, I have 1 gig of data available on my mobile phone every month, but I only use 500 megabytes, I have 500 megabytes remaining. That's my unused data. That amount carries over to the next month. That means I have 1 gigabyte plus 500 megabytes of data to use in the next month. So carry over means that amount continues to the next period. We see the same thing in the second example sentence. My airline miles carried over into this year, meaning my airline miles from the previous year carried over or continued into this year. So maybe I didn't use those miles last year, but they continued into this year and I can still use them. So carrying over means continuing something. We see it a lot in like credit card contracts or like mileage plans or data plans. Anything with data, points, numbers, we might see that sort of thing. Great work. Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.
速報です。 IT エンジニア不足で悩む企業に向け、テックストックではコーディネーターがプロの人材を提案しています。さらに続報です。なんとご提案は最短当日とのことです。25,000人の登録者から御社に最適なプロ人材をご提案。今 IT エンジニアが必要ならテックストック。
Do you feel like you don't speak enough English? That you need to know more words? Then stick around. With these lessons, you'll pick up some of the most common words in just a few minutes. Now, this video is a small portion of our learning program. To get the full lessons, translations, and Fluency Fast Study tools, click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account. In this video, you'll learn 20 of the most common words and phrases in English. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 800 Core English Words and Phrases video series. This series will teach you the 800 most common words and phrases in English. But there's a twist. With each new lesson in this series, we'll include the previous lessons at the end. So after you've learned the new words and phrases, stick around and review what you learned in previous lessons. Reviewing is one of the most important parts of learning a language. You can also get the full list right now at EnglishClass101.com. Click the link in the description to access more example sentences, create your own flashcard deck, and finally master English. Okay, let's get started. First is conditioner. 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 Conditioner is something we use for hair care. We usually use it after shampoo. This makes our hair shiny and soft. Rinse with conditioner. Rinse with conditioner. Rinse with conditioner. Deodorant. 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 Deodorant is something that we use to help prevent unpleasant smells coming from our body. He bought a new deodorant. He bought a new deodorant. He bought a new deodorant. Liquid soap. Liquid soap. Liquid soap. So liquid soap refers to soap that is in liquid form. This is different from something like bar soap, which is solid. Do you have liquid soap? Do you have liquid soap? Do you have liquid soap? Duck. 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 Duck, as a noun, refers to a very common bird. Usually you'll find them at parks, ponds, lakes, and so on. The ducklings follow the mother duck. The ducklings follow the mother duck. The ducklings follow the mother duck. Crow. 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 A crow is a very common bird. It's all black and it's often very noisy. Crows are among the smartest birds. Crows are among the smartest birds. Crows are among the smartest birds. Cockroach. 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 A cockroach is a very small creature. It's a dirty pest, and usually people don't want them in their house. A cockroach has 6 legs, wings, and antenna. A cockroach...
あなたのための大盛り朝の大盛り新登場じゃんじゃん使えるじゃんアハモ大盛り大好評アハモ
cockroach has 6 legs, wings, and antenna. A cockroach has 6 legs, wings, and antenna. Mosquito. 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 A mosquito is a very small bug. Most people know them because they'll land on you, bite you, and it becomes very itchy afterwards. Dragonflies eat mosquitoes. Dragonflies eat mosquitoes. Dragonflies eat mosquitoes. Construction worker. Construction worker. Construction worker. A construction worker is someone who works on a construction site, which means a place where a building is being made or some kind of maintenance is happening. The construction worker is measuring wood. The construction worker is measuring wood. The construction worker is measuring wood. Homemaker. 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 A homemaker is a person who usually stays in the home to take care of kids, to take care of the home, to prepare meals, and so on. Men and women can be homemakers. The hardest worker anywhere is the homemaker. The hardest worker anywhere is the homemaker. The hardest worker anywhere is the homemaker. Ice. 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 Ice is frozen water. We usually like to drink it in summer to make our drinks cold. Ice has formed on the window. Ice has formed on the window. Ice has formed on the window. History. 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 History refers to the past. It's a topic of study in school. We learn all about the things that happened in the past. You can learn a lot from history, as things tend to repeat themselves. You can learn a lot from history, as things tend to repeat themselves. You can learn a lot from history, as things tend to repeat themselves. Geography. 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 Geography refers to the study of the world. This means memorizing the names of countries and the positions of countries, or even cities, states, regions, and so on. She did not like to study geography. She did not like to study geography. She did not like to study geography. Store. 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 A store refers to any place that sells something. There are many different types of stores, like supermarkets or shoe stores and so on. A store is the general word. I'm going to the store to buy some milk and eggs. I'm going to the store to buy some milk and eggs. I'm going to the store to buy some milk and eggs. Market. 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 A market is a place, often outdoors, where individual sellers can sell things to their customers. We buy our fruits and vegetables at the local market. We buy our fruits and vegetables at the local market. We buy our fruits and vegetables at the local market.
今お前、仕事中に転職サイト探してたろ。
あ、いや、これは。
ダメでしょ。常識的に考えて。
すいません。
転職サイトはグリーンでしょ。
え、そっち？
登録しておくだけで企業からオファー来るんだよ。ほら。
え、こんな会社からも？
しかも企業とのやり取りも全部スマホでできちゃうんだよ。楽だぜ。
先輩、やり取りしてるんだ。
オンライン転職ならグリーンでした。声でかいよ。
転職決まりました。
あ、早っ。
Get. Price. 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 Price is a noun. It refers to the cost of something in a store. What is the price? What is the price? What is the price? Coupon. 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 A coupon is something on paper, or in some cases digital, that you can use to get a discount for a product. I have a coupon for 50% off, so let's eat there. I have a coupon for 50% off, so let's eat there. I have a coupon for 50% off, so let's eat there. Aisle. 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 An aisle is the open space between two rows of things. For example, like rows of seats on an airplane or between shelves in a supermarket. The open space is the aisle. I would like to sit in an aisle seat in case there is an emergency. I would like to sit in an aisle seat in case there is an emergency. I would like to sit in an aisle seat in case there is an emergency. Bag. 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 A bag refers to something that we use to carry things. It can be big or small. My bag is too heavy. My bag is too heavy. My bag is too heavy. Photograph. 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 A photograph is a picture. This word is a noun. Photograph and picture generally refer to the same thing. Photograph might sound a little more formal. This photograph doesn't look good. This photograph doesn't look good. This photograph doesn't look good. Soda. 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 Soda refers to a drink that has bubbles in it. It is a non-alcoholic drink. You might also hear it called pop. Soda contains a lot of sugar. Soda contains a lot of sugar. Soda contains a lot of sugar. Well done! In this lesson, you expanded your vocabulary and learned 20 new useful words. Click the link in the description and sign up for free at EnglishClass101.com to get access to the full list of vocabulary you'll need for daily life conversations. You'll also get example sentences, custom flashcard decks, and more learning resources. See you next time. Goodbye. Now, if you're wondering how to remember these words forever so that you can start speaking more and more, here's how. 1. Review them with our spaced repetition flashcards. Our flashcards will drill these words into your long-term memory. 2. Save the words to our word bank, your personal collection of words, where you can print out physical study sheets. And 3. Watch our looped vocabulary slideshows on repeat until you understand every word. You'll find these tools inside our learning program. Just click the link in the description to get them. Kettle. 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 A kettle is something that you use to heat up water. You might also hear this called a teapot. The kettle is on the stove. The kettle is on the stove. The kettle is on the stove.